So the topics I would like to say to resume into the 3 C's. C number 1, Corona. It's the first time we meet after the pandemic, quite a difficult moment. C number 2, climate. We talk a lot about climate change and the long-lasting impact that this will have on humanity. And number C, conflict. The situation in Ukraine is, of course, a worry for us all. Well, I think the interesting thing about the pandemic is that it has demonstrated the fragility of our system. In fact, the lack of resilience of humanity towards adverse effects. The fact that we are infected, the fact that we are all suffering from a virus, is something that was predictable. This virus had come, not this one exactly, but a number of viruses have tried to infect humanity over the years. None of them has succeeded, but not because of us, but because of them. Now suddenly this one has brought humanity on its knees, and for 18 months we had very difficult systems in humanity. And I think that's a big lesson. The lesson is that our system is not fit for purpose, and that's something we need to address. So for Roche, we had a business continuity plan in place. So when the pandemic hit, we were able to work from home quite rapidly. And I think we have been able to maintain our supply of drugs to our patients, and we have not been affected at a business level. Of course, the world has changed, and because the world has changed, it also has different needs, and these needs we have been trying to strive to fulfill, in particular with our offering in terms of tests, in terms of diagnostic tests, which have helped us to combat the pandemic by identifying at an early stage which of the COVID-19 patients were infected or not. So my definition for sustainability is a very simple one. We need to construct a system, a societal system, which would allow us to continue to create the value we need going forward. And that's not, the current system does not allow for this, because we have prioritized the short-term profit maximization, and that short-term profit maximization means that we are not measuring the impact we are having on the system, we're just looking at profitability. That clearly is not enough anymore, and the pandemic has proven that. So we need to enter into all sorts of thinking. I mean, we need to start asking the right questions. How are we going to be able to continue to advance towards the sustainable prosperity that we are going to need for the future of the planet? And so every activity that brings us towards the sustainable prosperity is a sustainable activity. So when my wife and I decided to do something for sustainability, in other words, making sure that the future of humanity is something that we can envisage and we can look at it in the long term, we realized that one of the things that is probably worthy of some attention is business teaching. Business teaching at the moment is based on a very simple premise. The company is there to make profits, and the profits are then distributed to society, and society through salary and taxes, and societies will then repair the damages caused by the value creation business. I think this is probably not the right way to do it, and so we thought it would be useful for business schools to have a look at not only financial prosperity, but also sustainable prosperity. So how are we going to be able to introduce sustainability into the business school? And the vision is on 4 legs. The first leg is research. How can we research the impact of sustainability on business? Number 2, how can we teach? Because that's what an institution does. 3, how do we convene people who are interested in the same subject, and how can we share ideas? And number 4, how can we introduce sustainability into the school itself? So, for instance, stopping to use plastic bottle, for instance, not heating when the window is open, or things of that nature. So leadership development is something I believe is an absolutely indispensable reason, or indispensable conditions of our success going forward. The system as it is at the moment has not helped us during the pandemic, and is also showing a sign of getting at the end of its useful model. You know, the planet is suffering, social systems are not functioning the way they should, and of course there's an awful lot of human distress. I mean, the pandemic has shown that mental health is an issue, and which is growing in our societies. So if we want to address all these different issues one by one, we will need to have people who are sufficiently courageous and bold to be able to take the decisions that are required by the systemic change. And if I had to define what a next generation leader looks like, I would say he or she, of course, will have to look at something else than what's been done before, come back with new solutions, new creativity, but at the same time is also being sufficiently courageous to challenge the existing order. So the way we've done it hasn't worked. It's time for something else. Well, I think that during too many years we have privileged violence. We have developed a business model which is based on domination. That's not the future. That hasn't worked. The future is about collaboration. The future is about partnership. So if I were interviewing new leaders, I would really look at people who are able to participate, people who are able to do things together, people who are able to inspire and serve the community rather than just pretending that they know better. I want humility as a virtue, and I want in particular a sense of accomplishment based on the mutual good, not just the individual one. So the future leader is not somebody who looks at his or her career first. The future leader is somebody who takes the group along and who makes sure that the communities succeed. The pharmaceutical industry has an aim to restore health. What we do is that we provide solutions to people who are ill, so we cure them. I think that one of the future visions, and it's by all means not the only one, but it's probably one, is to go towards prevention rather than cure. We need to be able, and new technologies, in particular diagnostics and machine learning and artificial intelligence, will allow us to identify the risk factors of diseases before they develop. And treating somebody before he or she is ill is certainly a better thing than to cure them once they are ill. You know, the balance that governs humanity is very much based on a delicate equilibrium before different communities. And we have disrupted that balance, and therefore the fact that new pathogen, be it virus or bacteria, come and infect humanity will probably increase in the future. Not so long ago it happened once in a lifetime, maybe twice in a lifetime. Now we're already on number 3 or 4 over the last 20 years. So I think that acceleration of infection will increase.